Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and let me take this opportunity to welcome you in our podcast where we look uh, at the politics of the day. To begin with, Edwin Sifuna is back, and he's back on the screen. And you know how Edwin Sifuna is ace, especially when it comes to injecting and even debating. He talks with authority and pump the sense, especially if you're debating Sifuna. You don't have hope. Today he was on Citizen, and he talks of so many things um, that if I was in ODM or the ODM leadership, including him, um, they should start to uh, make strategies on how to win the next general election. Um, but some of the things he spoke about, very, very, very much crucial. I will not play the one that he was in the Citizen, but I play the one of them that he was talking to Kamket. Let's listening. Then I would give my views based on what he has spoken about too, and I connect it to the one that the interview had on Citizen.
The leaders that you've mentioned. And of course, I saw what the Honorable Kamket said, and also the Honorable Oscar Sudi. The truth is that we know now that they understand that this thing, it is irreversible now. The damage that this government has done to its own reputation is irreversible. They know that there is very little that can be done between now and 2027 to reverse the fortunes of this regime. So you can see that they have become irritated, agitated. The young Kenyans on social media have succeeded in getting under their skin. If you go to a function and speaker after speaker is only talking about social media and curtailing the freedoms of the young people, lecturing us about respecting other people. And yet these are some of the vilest politicians on the mic. They themselves cannot show you the respect that they want other people to show them. So for me, it is the clearest indication. And I want Kenyans to take confidence in the strength of our constitution to defend itself. Nobody can stand somewhere and tell us they will manufacture another president for 24 years. It will not happen. Honorable Kamket should be told. It will not happen. This is not 1980. This is not the generation that they used to sell fear to. The Kenyan of today is a Kenyan who understands the constitution, their rights. They know for a fact that you cannot impose yourself on Kenyans. I am telling you, the only way for any elected leader to win re-election is to do the things you promised to do for Kenyans, is to make the lives of Kenyans better. Now that they understand that it is going to be impossible for them to deliver on any of the promises that would make Kenyans look at them favorably, they are now openly threatening to violate the constitution and the rights of Kenyans and to try and force themselves upon the people. As a person who was in the campaigns in 2022, when we were being backed by a sitting president, these are not strange pronouncements. They are very familiar because there are people in our camp who used to speak the way Kina Kamketa speaking and telling the country, oh, hii kitu imeenda, oh, there's nothing you can do, tutanyorosha wewe, hatuwezi kuachia mwizi. But I'm telling you, with the sort of anger that Kenyans have, the day a Kenyan is given a ballot paper like this, once he crosses against your name and puts it in the ballot box, that's the end of the day. That's the end of everything. So I want to assure Kenyans that this just stamping should not scare anybody. Just come out and express yourself. Speak, because these constitutional freedoms that we enjoy, they were very hard fought. They were fought for by blood and sweat. You know, you can see that there's a lot of nostalgia from the old Kanu Hawks to go back to those days where you could just abduct someone and throw them into a prison without trial. But at least that was the law then. It was legal. There was a law that backed that detention without trial. But that law does not exist anymore. The constitution now requires that if you arrest somebody, you have to produce them to court within 24 hours and charge them. And you have to demonstrate to the magistrate why you need to hold them in custody. The reason why they're abducting these young people is because there is no law that exists that says you cannot insult a leader. There is no law that says that you cannot insult the president. In fact, our High Court has already said that the freedom of expression extends to insults. The freedom of expression does not mean I have to be nice to you. It doesn't mean that I am forced to say things that you want to hear. Freedom of expression means I have to speak the way I see things. And instead of them addressing why are Kenyans so angry, how did we get here? Because after the president was elected in 2022, by all accounts, William Ruto was one of the most popular politicians in the country. What did he do in the intervening period to lead to a place where he's being insulted left, right, and center? Instead of addressing those questions, the cause, they're addressing the symptoms. And I can tell you, for as long as your policies and the actions of your government continue to make life more difficult for Kenyans, for as long as you don't demonstrate respect for the people, for as long as your court jesters, the ones you are talking about, are speaking to Kenyans in the way that they are speaking to them, then nobody's going to respect you. Respect is earned. It's not something you force. You cannot force people to respect you. Respect is earned from how you conduct yourself, how you relate with people, how you demonstrate respect for the people as required under Chapter 6 of the Constitution. So, unfortunately for him, he's surrounded by people who have decided that they have to tear him down. They're going to take him down. If there's anybody to be blamed for the one-term presidency of Ruto, it will be Kamket, it will be Oscar Sudi, and the likes who are surrounding him there, giving him bad advice, including my uncle Atwoli.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Edwin Sifuna, the Nairobi senator. If you follow Sifuna very well, Sifuna has maintained uh, his line of thought. Uh, there is no any other day that Sifuna has gone out of his statements or his pronouncement. If you connect that with the interview he had in NTV, I mean, sorry, not NTV, but Citizen TV. Politically, there are things that I can pick from Sifuna interviews. One, Sifuna has spoke about the fear, and that is true. And I don't know whether the political class that surrounds President William Ruto knows that the young people, yeah, not even young people, everybody, the fear has left. And I don't think you can sell for them that fear. And if you try to do like sell that fear, at the end of the day, it will cost you. So that fear is gone. Another thing also I'm learning from what I'm getting from Sifuna's speech is about the opposition. You know, in majority of regimes, especially the Kenyatta regime, Uhuru Kenyatta, Kibaki regime, then Ruto regime. There's quite something that is different from the Ruto regime administration. There's something quite much different in this administration as compared to other administration because this administration, the opposition is not coming from the leadership that you compete with. The opposition is coming from the people, and that opposition is organic. Is a opposition that you cannot buy. The opposition that has independent thinking. Yeah, and it's coming from opposition that is also well informed, that even the opposition themselves, those who claim to be opposition, cannot hoodwink them. So he, that's what I think Sifuna is talking about. But that's aside, why would you think, or what might have informed the decision of Sifuna now to come out? Because like Sifuna has been missing, especially in such big platform like Citizen, having these interviews. You will agree with me. But I think politically, I think maybe the ODM party has realized that there is a slim chances for Baba to win AUC. So they have to start to work out on the strategy on how to make ODM popular. And the reason why I'm saying that, there's a tweet that was made by this lady. She's a journalist, I think. Sophie Makoena. I think she's a South African. And this tweet went viral. And this is, I quote, and I read: abduction was used as a weapon by the cruel apartheid regime in South Africa to kill the activists. We must never African leaders to use the apartheid tactics against Africans. Apartheid was declared a crime against humanity by the UN. Abductions is a crime against humanity. And if you go to her page again, um, that is one of the tweets she did. Another tweet she did was, my question now is questioning the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga in her tweet. My question to at Right Honorable at Raila Odinga, sorry. You are campaigning for the position of the AUC Commission Chair. Why must Africa consider you when your country can't provide answers on the abduction cases in Kenya? You want to lead the continent when you are failing to lead in your own country. Yeah. So that's a question. And that is powerful because she has a very big fan base. And this one might tilt the thinking of other African leaders because it makes sense that if in your country there's abduction that are taking place, and how do you want to convince us that you're going to um, lead Africa? So those kind of questions, and there are so many others that people have been raising. So maybe the ODM has realized that okay, maybe the capturing of this AUC has a very slim chances. It's 50-50, we are not very sure. And how can we now start to come back? The coming back to align our thoughts with the people of Kenya. So maybe Sifuna is coming out to chart that path. That could be the one reason why he has come out. Political, that is my view, that he is vocal for that. That is one. I also spoke, number two, I want to speak of the exit plan from the government or the UDA or the broad-based government. You know, the broad-based government, ever since the experts joined the broad-based government, is not working. Yeah. There is no tangible issue or project that you can point out that has been actualized ever since the expert came. But we've seen arrogance, especially remember when CS Joho was warning, especially the young people use of internet, tutakukujia. You saw all those warning. And Edwin Sifuna went um, talked about it in one of the radio stations about how they carry themselves. Yeah. So I think now the strategy is how can we exit because it's not working. There's nothing that you can point out that they've done. The tune, even for the the experts, has really changed. The other day, I was listening to uh, CS for Finance Mbadi at the funeral of Wetangula's mother, where he was talking about the Nairobi Nakuru highway, and he talked about money that was borrowed, and the larger percentage of it went to build some village roads, and it would give you a picture of how he thinks or the narrative that will be being played. I've always told you here in this channel, I've always told you here that the narrative for next general election is already on course. It's about unity versus tribalism. And there are those leaders who will be aligned in other factions. There will be two factions. There will the factions for unity and the factions that are tribal. And that is going to be the narrative. Yeah. And that one, it informs you. And that one did not sit well with the majority of Kenyans and the majority or the population from Kenya. The people feel like, okay, that's not the way you should go. So this could be an exit plan. How are we now exiting from the broad-based government? Because our experts have not delivered. Because it's almost 6 months, but there's something. I don't know whether there's tangible um, projects that you can point out rather than those when they go to areas. We are going to do this. We are going to do this. Only that. Yeah, yeah. So that is also exit. They're working on that exit in a good way. So by Sifuna being a spokesperson of ODM, he has to put his uh, authority to speak about all this. So to initiate that exit from the broad-based government. Another issue might be because of the rate at which the popularity of ODM is going down, and even the one for Baba and the hatred that I seen towards Baba. I've seen two interviews by Enoch Sikolia. One of them was between Enoch Sikolia and Caleb Amisi. The other recent one was about it was with Enoch Sikolia and Honorable Beatrice Elachi. And they were all talking about the hate that people have towards Baba. And you know, Baba is ODM. So it means if people are having negativity towards Baba, it means even ODM is having that negativity. And they're having this, one, because they're working with the government that they opposed at some point and even went for demonstration for it. And people lost their life during those demonstrations. We've not, maybe they've not seen compensation. So the popularity is going down. And you cannot go to election very weak party, because ever since ODM was formed as a party, they've always have a candidate on the ballot. And even Sifuna mentioned it during the citizen interview. So while going for a presidential election, you cannot go with when the party is weak. Party has to be strong. So the maybe that realization that the popularity of the party is going down drastically, and not, so how can we salvage? So is us to detach ourselves from the broad-based government. Yep. And even Sifuna himself mentioned about the experience that he had, especially supporting the incumbency of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah, that costed them the presidency because it came with the baggage. Yeah, the mistakes, the challenges that they have, the projects that they did not fulfill. Presidency of Raila Odinga during the 2018-2022, they had to pay for that price. So they paid that price for that. He mentioned that. So which means the realization is coming in. And they said, like, okay, we are not going to make another mistake of going again with this government. The last one is about division of ODM. And this one still goes to about the unity of ODM. Because when you look at ODM right now, ODM has, I would call it, has like three tier of people or three tier of legislation leaders. We have the tier that were elected but went to support Ruto even before the broad-based government. They don't align themselves to the ideology of Ruto. I mean, sorry, the ideology of ODM. Their political vision and the political ideology is that one of the president. And these are the members of Senate, like Tom Ojienda. Yeah. We have the MP for Bondo. We have MP for Langata, you know. So even though they are in broad-based government, yeah, yeah, but they don't share the ODM dream. Yeah. By broad-based government being formed has just made for them very easier to navigate uh, the areas that they were coming from that were very hostile to them. Remember how hostile it was for especially Tom Ojienda, especially the MP for Bondo, all the MPs, the leaders who went to work with President William Ruto before the broad-based government. Right now, they are enjoying um, that peace. They can talk, they can visit these areas, but before the broad-based government, they could not. So that's the first group. The second group is the group of Edwin Sifuna, Babu Owino, Caleb Amisi. You know, these are a group of leaders who have decided not to support broad-based government. They're not buying into the broad-based government, and they criticize the broad-based government if they find opportunity. And the majority of young people are supporting them. And the good thing with them, with this group, they have following both in towns and in rural areas, especially well-informed young people in the rural areas identify with this group of people, group of leaders, the likes of Sifuna, Babu Owino, Caleb Amisi, and we have also Ledama Olekina, I would say so. So that is another group in ODM. And this group also, they have some other leaders who are very quiet and supports them, but they do not want to come in public because they don't want backlash. But with them, they've come out in public and they've come out in public and talking about and putting the pressure on the government. Yeah. So that is that group. Then there's this group in ODM. I would call them psychophancy. Their psychophancy rate is quite much higher. They support the president, but inwardly, if about turn, he said they will always come back to ODM and change the narrative. I can give you a typical example of Homa Bay Town Member of Parliament, Opondo Kaluma. If you go and peruse his social media, you will know he stands toward this government, you know, and it will tell you the category where he falls. So with those category, this is make it quite much hard for ODM because it's so much fluid for them because they cannot speak as one unit. Yeah. So this also could have informed that Edwin Sifuna to come out and criticize the government or speak about those ills that he feels the government is not doing right. And this one will tend to mend this division. If you remember very well, even James Orengo, in the initial stages, he was very categorical, but along the line, he changed his mind. You know, we are seeing people like Otiende Amolo, you know, they are quiet. You only see them on ODM public rallies, but when it comes to major media platforms, you're not seeing them. So that one also would send for you, you'd send you some uh, red flags, like things are not working well. So working on the strategy of coming back and also trying to mend the divisions within ODM. But generally, um, I think it's very tough, especially if ODM will continue to be in the government. or broad-based government, and at the same time want to come sell their ideology to people. With how the reaction is, I think they will have to pay a price. Yeah. So, but I don't think, yeah, they will have to pay a price. So it's either they they find a way of rebuilding themselves and bringing that their brand of politics, or going independently. But the way now, how people are very hungry, agitated, the way Sifuna was saying, it's kind of like quite much difficult for ODM to navigate, because I feel there are those who don't speak about it, but um, they are silently walking away, walking out of ODM, especially fan base and all that. The people who have always believed in ODM. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. See you next time.